right? Which is over the 20,000.
Yes, it is over the 20,000.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion to go out of the closed meeting.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Gibson, second by Marriott. All in favor, say aye. Okay, we're back in our public meeting. Do you wish to take action on what we discussed in the closed meeting this time, or do you want to wait till the next time? How?
It's awarding of a bid for a security system.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the bid as for what's the company?
Pro Edge.
Pro Edge for a security system for the city offices and two parks, as stated in the closed meeting.
And the amount of $31,672.88, and it is currently budgeted.
What she said. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion by Gibson, second by Marriott. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So let's head back to, well, let's quickly hit other business, just Tyson and the chief real quick, and Brandon, if you guys have got anything, if not, certainly free to, because you don't need the training, I don't believe, correct? Okay, and chief has provided something.
Yeah. I just provided the yearly stats for the police department. Each month I give the calls, citations, and arrest numbers. And at the end is the total amount that we handled for 2022. It's up, of course, slightly from last year because business is always up and population's up and activity's up. But our guys have done a great job handling this. Those are the current numbers on that.
It's interesting, calls are way up in the summer, but arrests are down.
Maybe they're too busy to arrest people. I don't know.
Maybe they're more minor offenses and minor.
Yeah, it is what it is. And you
Sure,
don't know.
it's
You don't know from month to
interesting.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
You can see when Officer Van Beeken was out of school. That's awesome. Great job. Great job. Any questions for the chief? Anything else?
Just we got our new body cam system up and going. We budgeted for it last July. Took a while to get everything in order. It's a product of Motorola.
How long did the old one last?
Probably 5 or 6 years, but we ended up having a lot of problems with those. And then it got to the point where you couldn't get replacements. This one's a little more durable, and the Motorola company is standing behind it. And I think we got us a really quality product, a little more so than the last one.
I feel your pain.
No, it's okay.
I spent a whole career going before county commissioners trying to explain to them technology. You know, I really did. I mean, at least the last 23 years while I was the director at budget time, trying to explain to them how they just spent $500,000 on this equipment. And I'm back 3 years later for a replacement for it. It's just, it's crazy.
I think it's less than 5 years.
Crazy.
Right. I mean, I remember
Oh.
when we got it, we had to get all, you know, when the police were getting such a hell for all that they're doing, we have to camera all the officers.
Now it's more for the officers' protection.
Oh, yeah. No, and I want it. I'm not saying,
Yeah.
but
It's just crazy what
all of a sudden,
how that's flipped.
this, yeah, we need it, and we now got to get it all again.
It is mandated by the state. If we get an arrest case now, like a DUI or something, they'll send us the report and the body cam. And if you don't have a body cam, in their opinion, it didn't happen. I mean, it's got to that point to where we have to have it. We're doing the best we can, and it's a quality product. Of course, I guess 5 years ago, that was a quality product too, but it is what it is, and we're happy with it.
Thanks
You
for
get
staying
worn
up on
out
it.
quickly when police have to tackle some of the.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else, chief?
Do we just have body cam? Do we have any cameras in the car as you pull up to a scene or?
Well, what we did is we did away with the cameras in the car. They were about the price. One camera in the car is about the price of 5 body cameras. So we're using the body camera for everything. And most agencies are doing that now.
As you see, you know, when they're in the car, again, I'm watching on Facebook or whatever, but the officer goes up, you know, and you can see everything happening. I just think that's a great thing.
You want my prediction, just as a gee whiz? Okay, what you will see sometime in the future, and probably not that far in the future, you will see when the police officer activates, like, you will see a drone pop up from his car with a camera. Okay,
Great idea.
yeah,
Have the whole scene all covered.
the whole.
As the guy takes
Around
off,
everything.
you can just track him down, shoot him down.
Some cities now are sending drones to calls and they're beating the officer there.
So we hold off them and get that.
No, but-
technology comes-
Well, that's next year's budget.
Serious.
I just foresee that coming because you'd have a 360 view of the crime scene, plus the body cam, but but
Yeah.
still.
Thank you, Chief, for all
Not
the,
only that, I'll just
Problem.
go on and say, I invented pull-ups 5 years. I should have went with the invention 5 years before they ever came out. I should have invented it and patented it. It was a great idea. And anyway, I
You'd
didn't.
be mayor of Park City right now.
I would be certain. Anyway, so. And 5-10 years from now, you can go, hey, the mayor. I thought, why didn't he put in? Because he's an idiot. Okay. Anything else?
That'll do.
Okay. Do you have anything, Tyson, or you good?
No.
Brandon, do you have anything? Okay, well,
Huge thank you to our public works staff.
yeah, you're probably gonna be busy again tomorrow morning, so if not before. Thank you. All righty. We can go to training, I guess, then.
It's not as scary as
That
everyone
wants
painted
to-
it. It's like 15 minutes.
Okay, just let's do conflict of interest first, if we may.
Okay.
And then anybody that doesn't need the open and public meeting certainly may go.
Mhm.
We're not gonna hold you hostage. Thank you.
Thank you.
So who's taking care of conflict of interest? That,
Yep, that's me. Yeah. It's all in one. So I'm happy to.
oh yeah, we still owe you that money for, I mean.
Yeah, exactly. It's still there. The wall's still there. The kids are tunneling into it.
Okay, go ahead, Amy.
Okay,
Conflict of interest.
Start with conflict of
I'll
interest.
start with conflict of
Sorry.
interest.
back, I think.
Oh, let me just. I still Larry's. Although Steve is gonna miss my grandma slide with.
I'll stay. I mean, if everybody else has to stay, I'll stay too.
Okay, ethics and conflict of interest. So this is cited in Utah State Code 6716 and put a couple of things in here, but I also printed out the code for you just for your benefit. And then I also asked Larry to print off our conflict of interest disclosure form so that you have access to that and those written disclosures. And frankly, I feel the conflict of interest forms protect you more than anything. With the way the state law is framed, and it's this lower portion here, it says a public officer or a public employee may not participate in or receive compensation as a result of transaction between an agency, business entity, which the public officer or public employee is an officer, director, agent, employee, owner of a substantial interest, unless the public officer or public employee has disclosed that relationship. It doesn't preclude you from participation. However, depending on the level of interest you have, it would absolutely be an option if you'd like to abstain from a vote, if there's a financial interest to do so. So that's mainly the. So the state law actually does require a written submittal of what they are.
I'm just reading it now. So file with the mayor's sworn statement giving information required by the section. So.
So if you become aware of something before a meeting, I snag one of these, fill it
That's,
out.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, or, I mean, I believe that's if there's a financial interest. If you just have a kid that works for, somebody that you're making a decision and he works for Elmer Bailey and it's a Elmer Bailey thing, you could just say, hey, just so you know, my kid works out there painting foundations.
Yeah, so I was looking at
That's-
the financial one, because what's interesting, I mean, I don't amazingly and thankfully haven't had any that I've had to worry about, but in the past, I have had a ton of contractors, developers I've done work for in Pleasantview. But the one, it says any covered person who receives payment for helping a private person or business in a transaction. And that's only, I'm assuming that's a transaction that comes before the city. It's a city related.
Correct.
Only city because, so if you started getting financially, well, from the city's decision.
Yeah.
From a city, like
Yeah.
governing bodies make it that I'm involved in.
So like if my property is being rezoned to put in something that's, financially lucrative or. Yeah, and a lot of it, again, I mean,
Keep people from making money off it. Yeah.
of their decisions and to ensure they disclose those conflicts. And I think it protects you more than anything just to be as open and transparent as you can, because then there's no question, well, they disclosed that so-and-so was their cousin or, whatever that may be. So one of the other things that it lists in here, I really should have listed these bullet points a little differently, but so we had a closed session meeting this evening and sometimes you're privy to certain information about property acquisition, different things. And so and proper disclosure of that or using that for personal gain and privilege is an ethical problem, obviously, and a legal problem with state law. And then there's also a section in the code that specifically addresses regulations on accepting gifts, compensation, this part's so weird to me, but it must have had to be included for a reason, like discounted interest rates on loans. So if
There, you're doing everything wrong.
so
Those perks you could be getting.
so with the gift,
Would have known about this.
if I'm a big chocolate lover, but let's say, somebody brings me in a candy bar and just says, thank you for your help with this project. I mean, even we had a planning commissioner bring us in some chocolate, thank you for this. And I knew, okay, that chocolate probably costs $12. So I'm okay eating some of that and sharing that with my staff. But if somebody brought in $150 See's candy gift certificate, then obviously that
Like 1 pound.
Well, so do you want to know the actual definition? It says, so a gift, an unethical gift, an illegal gift would be of substantial value that would tend to improperly influence a reasonable person in the person's position to depart from the faithful and impartial discharge of the person's public duties. So it's not necessarily the size of the chocolate, it's how the chocolate will affect you.
That is very true, but also there is a $50 limit as well.
Occasional non-pecuniary gift having a value of less than.
But if you're a chocolate addict like myself, then maybe I shouldn't be accepting any chocolate because it impacts me a different way. So thank you. So that's the summary on that. I don't know if there's any questions, but just a kind of quick overview on
You want us to sign these then?
You have to sign it in front of the notary.
if you have a conflict.
Well, I'm asking.
But this is saying that we got the training, or is this something I sign if I have a conflict?
So you
She's
have a-
trying to say.
Just don't put no.
To,
You just can sign it saying you've read it and you don't have a conflict.
I don't have a business in Pleasantview. They're in North Iowa, so I'm assuming I don't have to disclose.
Yeah, no.
Don't we sign it with?
Does it ask you to
Leave it blank?
disclose anything?
But we just leave it blank. It tells you we don't have a conflict, right?
Right.
We've done our annual conflict, or do you want us not to do it? If we,
yeah,
here, you decide if you need them or not.
I just think there needs to be a form that shows us that that we're aware of the conflict of interest.
That's what signing them to do.
Okay,
The back part, you're the covered person.
Fill it up at the top and then you
You
just.
just sign it at the bottom.
It's all blank.
it seems like this form would be if I have a conflict.
But even if you don't have a conflict, then it shows that you have no
That
existing
you've
conflict.
read it, and and it's.
I read it, but I didn't get that out of it.
No, thank you. Okay. So I'll go back a page to. I really had fun putting this grandma picture on here. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, that is my grandma. Where'd you get that?
Your wife gave it to me. It was hard because she was busy dealing with the flood. So you do this, Mayor. So this is the Government Records Access and Management Act. So I think you all are a little bit familiar or maybe very familiar with this. But it's a really good reminder that a lot of the records that we utilize as a city are subject to grandma, not the grandma on the screen, but to this. And it's important to take that into consideration as you're conducting business. And so grandma defines a record. It can be a book, a letter, document, paper, map, plan, photograph, film, card, tape, recording, electronic data, or other documentary material, regardless of the physical form. There are some exceptions though. So if you're taking notes, I'm taking notes in the meeting now. That may not be subject to grandma. It may be subject to grandma, depending. And then if I'm working on a draft document and I'm having a really rough day and it's not going so well and lots of typos and errors, that's not necessarily subject to grandma if it's not a finalized document. Emails and text messages discussing city business, even when it's not a quorum that's involved, can and are typically subject to grandma requests. So something to keep in mind. If after a meeting, I decide to text Brandon and say, wow, what a planning commission meeting, and start delving into business. And then the next day somebody comes in and grandma requests that, it could be subject. So it's something to keep in mind as we're discussing city business.
And I've been involved in cases several times where we've requested text messages from city council members and got them. And so
I typically just assume that anything I write is grammable and, yeah.
Grandma Mia, what are you?
how do they collect that?
So
So they're
it's actually, oh, go for it.
well, it depends on how the city, so some cities will issue phones, right? And then it's easy and then it's collected by the IT, but if it's a personal device, then they have to disclose that so they were sending screenshots, and the ones I've been a part of, they'll send screenshots of any phone messages, so.
But is that during a city council meeting or any time in my life?
Any city business.
While you're a city council. While you're on the city council.
It's recorded, but if you're just having a conversation with them.
Yeah, but.
In writing.
Yeah, it's a
Can we get 3 little signs on a folding card like this? One here, one there, one there that says that.
You're being recorded. Yeah.
This is a reminder. I need it. If the others don't need it, that's.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great idea. And good for our planning commissioners and our board of adjustment as well. No, that's great. And I think really it's a whole mission and transparency and sunshine laws, and to make sure, that no business is being conducted underground, that, I'm not negotiating with somebody and then it never comes to light, that people can always have access to those types of records. So that's how the state law works. Okay. There's the penalties. Now I'm going to go into the open and public meetings, which has the video that Steve watched. That one's your grandma. Okay. So, the Utah Code entails within the Open and Public Meetings Act, public noticing requirements, minutes and recordings, and requirements there constitutes a closed meeting and a legal closed meeting, emergency meetings, electronic meetings. And again, that mission of transparency to ensure the public has access to our public decision-making. And then it is an annual training required, which Councilmember Gibson jumped the gun and is already on top of it. So with that, I've got this very brief video and then a couple of additional slides. Oh.
So if we need proof for other boards and things we serve on, what do we need to get from you? Just a copy of our minutes saying that we received the.
And dynamically,
For other boards.
seamlessly track your inventory. Except
They all ask for it.
It will start recording.
I can say I'm pretty sure I did mine last year, so.
Are they not working?
No.
Oh, that's weird.
Exactly. It's the state law
Oh,
that ensures
yeah.
government actions. And
State auditors.
so what is the Open and Public Meetings Act? It's the state law that ensures government actions and deliberations are openly conducted. Before we continue, keep in mind that this video is an overview and exceptions may exist based on your entity type. We focus on local government, not state requirements. When in doubt, read the law and consult with your legal counsel. So what's considered an open and public meeting? It's when a public body quorum, also known as a simple majority, meets to discuss or act upon government business. It includes the meetings sometimes referred to as workshops or executive sessions. Regular meetings, public hearings, electronic meetings, and emergency meetings are all open and public meetings. Open and public meetings don't include chance or social meetings. A public hearing is a type of open and public meeting where citizens have a reasonable opportunity to speak. Public hearings happen when a government adopts a budget, imposes or increases taxes or fees, or transfers money from an enterprise fund. These meetings have extra notice and posting requirements and won't be addressed in this video. An electronic meeting is a type of open and public meeting that's convened electronically, such as via phone or the internet. Remember, the governing body must adopt a resolution, rule, or ordinance allowing and governing electronic meetings. OPMA adds additional requirements too. An emergency meeting may be held to discuss an urgent matter due to unforeseen circumstances. In order to hold the meeting, the best notice that's feasible is provided of the time, location, and topics to be considered. An attempt is made to contact all governing body members, and the governing body majority approves the meeting. An open and public meeting may be closed to discuss any of the following: the person's character, competence, or health, collective bargaining, litigation, certain real property transactions, including any form of a water right or water shares with specific restrictions, security personnel, devices, or systems deployment, investigations of criminal misconduct, and private or protected information for the Utah Procurement Code, including trade secrets. A closed meeting may be held only if a quorum is present and the meeting was properly noticed. 2/3 of the governing body present at the meeting need to vote yes to close a meeting. Quick math lesson. 2 divided by 3 equals 66.7%. Let's say your governing body has 5 members present at the meeting. If 3 out of 5 members vote yes, that equals 60%, which is not equal or greater than 66.7%, which means you're 1 member short and would need 4 out of 5 members to vote yes. During a closed meeting, a governing body can't interview someone applying to fill an elected position, discuss filling a midterm vacancy or temporary absence, discuss the character, competence, or health of a person whose name was submitted for consideration to fill a midterm vacancy or temporary absence, approve any ordinance, resolution, rule, regulation, contract, or appointment, or take a vote, unless it's a vote on a motion to end the closed portion of the meeting and return to an open meeting. When a governing body closes a meeting, the following must be publicly announced and entered into the minutes of the open meeting at which the closed meeting was approved. The reason or reasons for holding the closed meeting, the location where the closed meeting will be held, and the vote of each member of the governing body either for or against the motion to close the meeting. If a closed meeting is discussing a person's character, competence, or health, or security personnel, devices, or systems deployment, or several other exceptions, mostly related to state bodies or project entities, no recording or minutes are required. However, the presiding member needs to sign a sworn written statement stating such. If the closed meeting is held for any other reason, a recording must be made, which includes date, time, and place of the meeting, names of members present and absent, and names of all others, except where disclosure would infringe on the confidentiality necessary to fulfill the original purpose of closing the meeting. Regular open and public meetings require 24 hours notice. The public notice includes the meeting, agenda, date, time, and place. Public meeting agendas need to include reasonably specified topics to be considered, with each topic listed under a separate agenda item on the meeting agenda. The governing body may not consider a topic in an open meeting that wasn't on the agenda. If a new topic not on the agenda is raised by the public during an open meeting, the governing body may discuss the topic. However, final action may not be taken on the new topic during that meeting. Additionally, entities holding regular meetings scheduled in advance over the course of the year need to provide annual notice of the entire year's meeting schedule. The notice must include date, time, and place for each meeting. Notice is posted at the entity's principal office, or if the entity doesn't have a main office, at the building where the meeting will be held, and the Utah Public Notice website. Typically, posting on the Public Notice website is done by the records officer, recorder, or clerk. However, it's the governing body's responsibility to ensure notice is provided. State Archives has prepared a training manual and quick guide for owners and posters, as well as training videos that can be accessed at their website, archives.utah.gov. Written minutes and a recording are kept of all open meetings, with few exceptions. Written minutes include the date, time, and place of the meeting, the names of members present and absent, the substance of all matters, names of citizens providing comments, the substance of the comments provided, any information a body member requests be entered into the minutes or recording, and a record by individual member of each vote taken. A body with elected members must record each vote in list format by category for each action taken by a member, including yes votes, no votes, and absent members next to each member's name. A recording must be a complete and unedited record of all open portions of the meeting from beginning to end, and be labeled with the meeting date, time, and place. All or any part of an open meeting may be independently recorded by any person in attendance if the recording does not interfere with the conduct of the meeting. Pending minutes means written minutes of an open meeting in draft form subject to change before being approved by the public body that held the open meeting. Pending minutes must contain a clear indication, such as a draft or pending watermark, that the governing body hasn't yet approved the minutes and that the minutes are subject to change until the public body approves them. Approved minutes means written minutes of an open meeting approved by the public body that held the open meeting. Entities must establish and implement procedures for the public body's approval of written minutes. Public meeting pending minutes, approved minutes, and recordings for public records under GRAMA. Any individual who publicly presents information relating to an item on the public body's meeting agenda must provide a copy of the information for inclusion in the public record. Make pending minutes available to the public within 30 days. Within 3 business days after approving written minutes of an open meeting, make approved minutes and any public materials available at the Utah Public Notice website, the entity's primary office, and the entity's website. Within 3 business days after holding an open meeting, make an audio recording of the open meeting available to the public for listening.
Okay. I don't know if there's any questions. That's the video of the state auditors.
So recording, I'm sorry to record. Is that all? How do you do this?
I'm saving them on a disk when they do work. No, or I'll upload either those to the state's website and those are permanent there. Or if the audio doesn't work, the YouTube works and I upload the link there.
This is stored.
Yeah, on a separate disk. So it's saved right here. Then I have just a, I don't know, backup disk that I'll just come in here and download it onto. So I have 3 copies then. Yeah, and I delete them all here. That was just on there, and then I upload them to the state's website.
And it's nice with the YouTube because, I mean, people after a meeting request it, we can just send them the link and they get the full context. It's very nice that we do that. So with that, this is what a meeting is defined as in state law. And then I've got some examples of what a meeting can be. So a convening of a public body with a quorum present to discuss, receive public comment about, or act upon a matter over which the public body has jurisdiction or advisory power. Meeting does not mean a chance or social gathering or a convening of a public body that has both legislative and executive responsibilities in certain circumstances. So if you happen to run into each other in a group of 3 at the grocery store, that doesn't mean you have to.
Well, you don't discuss.
Yeah, city business. That's exactly it. Other possible meetings, this is a list that I put together.
Let me just stop there for a second, because that's something it concerns me. I've seen it happen where we have our meeting, we end the meeting, we go out and discuss certain aspects in the parking lot, which really is not allowed. You know, if it's just 2 of you, knock yourselves out. But if there's a quorum, that's a problem.
That's a great segue to my slide.
Oh, sorry.
So other possible meetings, if you go to the last bullet point, the Mary's address this, but discussions before and after the meeting. would constitute that if you have a quorum. If you had 3 people on one social media thread discussing a city issue, that could possibly become a meeting. Also with text messages. So if it's, and I know sometimes we share information, but if it's an actual conducting city business, that could be a problem, and especially text messages during a meeting. So maybe I'm texting Councilmember Gibson and saying, I love studies. Studies are my favorite. Heart, 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 heart. And, he.
Amy, we can conduct a study right now.
But the point being that information should be out in the public because we're in the middle of conducting a meeting. And so we shouldn't be texting each other little private messages that inform the conversation that the public doesn't get access to. And then virtual communication and like phone conversations. So if, 3 of you hop on a Zoom, and so that could be a problem. Penalties. So this is a fun one. If you violate the open meetings, any final action could be voidable by a court. A closed meeting, that's a scary one, Class B misdemeanor. So
Yeah, people try to get around the biggest one, believe it or not, that gets violated is when they have to replace somebody.
on a board. Yeah.
They don't want to discuss it out in public, which it doesn't allow anything enclosed. So that's the biggest one that.
It's one thing
Has
with a
get people
staff
in trouble.
member. So like if it's
Yeah, but no, an elected.
an elected official, it's very explicitly stated that it has to be in public, all of the discussions, all of the dialogue, and that's a hard deal.
He used to do interviews in private, and back when I was on the city council, when we replaced a couple, back when the pioneers were here. But right around that time, that's when we was just getting it in.
Railroad.
I don't know. I don't have it at my house right now. No. My internet stopped working because I'm sure our GFI blew that's outside or something.
We can check again. So I think it's important to keep these things in mind. Obviously I know you're all ethical individuals and if we try to, comply with the state laws, they protect us in a lot of ways. And that really, I think, covers the entirety of my presentation. So
All right.
I will make you certificates if you want.
All right. If she's done, I'm willing to go on to the next item on the agenda. Is other business. Anything anybody wants to discuss under other business? Anybody?
You said all over.
Anybody? Okay. Typically I have just one thing, then we can adjourn. Typically at the first of the year, usually February, first part of February, middle of part of February, somewhere we usually have a work session. I don't know if you want to do that again, if you want to, it's usually on a Saturday morning. Sound like a plan. Okay. We usually do it on a Saturday morning. Laurie brings us breakfast. 11th, 18th. So will I. Rich reminds me. Steve, I will be gone on February the 28th.
Not 18. Sorry.
Yeah, but I will be back. I'll be back on the 11th. So I leave the 25th and come back on the 11th. Steve. Is that, you're what? Nashville.
That sounds
I'll be in
fun.
Nashville too. What day? When are you there? Oh, no, I'm leaving the 25th. 26th.
Okay, that's a problem then. Do you want to do city council on the 21st?
Are you talking February?
February.
Planning meeting, it sounds like the 11th is the date that might work then, Sarah.
And we can, if you want, we can just do away with the February 28th meeting and say, let's do work session on February 18th or
I think that's,
instead of.
Saturday, 11th, does that work for you guys or?
Well, I thought you said the 18th.
11th or the 18th.
18th. I'll be after.
The 11th works for me.
Okay.
The 11th is not working.
Does that work for the staff? Should we plan that? Do away with the 28th and do a work session on the 11th?
Yeah. When do you go to Mexico?
I leave on the 25th and come back on March 11th.
So we would start at what time?
Tuesday 8. That's
You want
okay.
to, like,
Yeah, it's usually
Hard to
about 2
get
hours.
breakfast here that early, Laurie. I know.
I just and it's really surprising how fast those 4 hours. It goes so fast, Phil, 4 hours. It's like 8 to noon and
I don't think we did
it
it that
goes so
long, but
fast.
it's usually a couple hours, 2-3 hours.
Is it noon or am I like?
Dave, I'm there.
I don't remember.
It was a
I think
few
it was
hours.
10. 8 to my fast. Okay.
8 to 10, so I don't care.
earlier if we want.
Mayor,
Yes.
make one suggestion possibly, because we always get there and we always talk about 100 things. I would like to have that possibly jot some things down so that Amy can have a little bit of an agenda. And so if you want to, if you know, an open forum is great, but if we can just kind of, because if everybody wants to talk about same thing, we can kind of get.
That would help. That would actually help a lot.
Okay,
So maybe what everyone could do is if you want to send me your items, I can kind of compile them together and condense or.
You did, yeah, and then we just kind of focus and.
Because we always,
Items, some under 20. Yeah.
Your top 5.
I mean, and I'm guilty, and I apologize, we just all talk over, and we just don't get anything accomplished. So,
Thing we want to talk about is kind of long-term projects, Price kind of mentioned it, it's like, we need to figure out and maybe some number 1 priorities. I'm going to talk a little bit about the water tank project, some of those kind of things, what's going to be the priority for the year. So, staff direction.
so, see, and I think that'd be great to have that.
That's one for sure. A water.
Just for sure, have somebody cover those, just in a Reader's Digest version, a little bit
No, and the plan
of what we want to do for sure. For the,
Engineering, the other, you have them?
I mean, I'd love to get some new chairs for the city council here. These are worthless.
What?
You want new chairs?
Mine will not roll.
I would say that
It's gotta be a user error.
Probably too heavy, too fat.
Depends on the downward pressure. I was gonna say.
There is too much.
there's something with these chairs. Yeah, broken.
What's funny is Julie Park loves these chairs. She keeps asking me where
Well,
we bought them.
this doesn't stay up. We've given it to the mayor. Sometimes these things.
Well, I swapped mine out. And last time I swapped Dave's out. She took someone down there.
I did entertain a motion to adjourn. I'll second the motion.
When is the first founders meeting? And then when the mayor gets back from Mexico? That's what we did last year.
Founder's Day already. Wow.
What?
Oh, so yeah, so Trevor on the phone.